Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talkin' Movies double feature review. As always, I'm your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're talking about my Valentine's Day double feature. I saw two movies on Valentine's Day, because what else am I going to do on Valentine's Day? I saw Isn't It Romantic and Alita Battle Angel, and we're going to talk about both of them. While I won't throw big spoilers in there for Alita, I might throw some spoilers in for Isn't It Romantic, so just so you are aware. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Isn't It Romantic. What this movie is about, it's about a woman that grows up hating romantic comedies. Her mom kind of teaches her a harsh lesson after she's watched Pretty Woman when she's a kid, and she ends up hitting her head, and she wakes up in her worst nightmare, a romantic comedy. This movie had a lot going against it for me going in, because I'm not a fan of Rebel Wilson. I'm not a fan of Liam Hemsworth. I'm not a fan of Adam Devine. The jury's still out on Priyanka Chopra. But honestly, I have to say, though I didn't think this was a great movie, I thought it was okay. Here's the thing. This movie is 100% predictable. That being said, it's supposed to be. This movie has zero surprises. It's the way it's supposed to be. This movie is just making fun of every romantic comedy trope that it can get its hands on for the entire movie. That being said, it uses the tropes to teach the main character a lesson about life, even though life might not turn out like romantic comedies do. There is still happiness in life. I have to say, again, I'm not a big fan of Rebel Wilson. I'm not a big fan of Adam Devine. And the last time they coupled them up was whichever Pitch Perfect movie that was. I believe it was the second one. Honestly, I didn't mind them too much in this, because obvious is obvious. They're gonna be a thing at the end, right? And the way that they're acting towards each other, it feels like they were friends first. And they, he liked her. She wasn't privy to that information. She always like, no, he doesn't, and even though everyone's like, duh, it's obvious. Again, another rom-com trope. So that actually kind of worked for me. Liam Hemsworth in this is supposed to play the too good to be true, handsome, rich rom-com guy who ends up, of course, having flaws that go totally against the main character, and he does okay too. So, I mean, the parts they play are fine, and I kind of enjoyed them for what they were. I'm not saying that their acting in this broke any molds or was any type of breakthrough for me really liking them as actors, but for the three of them, this is probably the most I've liked the three of these actors in anything. So, I mean, there is that. I think the biggest problem this movie had, while it was good at hitting the tropes, the movie's not as funny as it thinks it is. A lot of times it just feels like it's going, through the motions. It's saying, this is happening. Hey, look, here's this trope. Something. Hey, look, here's this trope. It just felt like that sometimes. And again, with no really surprises, it just kind of goes through the motions. And again, while I don't hate this movie. That being said, I don't really love this movie either. It kind of fell right in the middle for me. I'm glad I saw it. I like the premise. And again, the story of Adam Devine's character and Rebel Wilson's character in the end is kind of sweet. And it works. There's something involving a window. in their office that I actually thought was kind of nice. It was something nice for a movie like this. I mean, I kind of figured it out, but you know, it was kind of a sweet moment for these two characters. So this movie, it's a nice jab at rom-coms. I wish it would have been funnier. I think one of the problems is the trailer gives away a lot of what probably would have been really good jokes. I really wish that the trailer for this, alls it was where she says, you know, I'm in a mother beep and, you know, romantic comedy and it's PG-13. I wish it would have stopped right there. And it would have saved some things that might have been really entertaining had I not known they were coming. The movie, of course, reminds me a lot of Delirious with John Candy. I'd rather watch that movie, but then again, I'm a big John Candy fan. So yeah, if this movie would have been a little funnier, would have saved some of the jokes, you know, kept some of the jokes away from the trailer, it might have been better. Is it a bad movie? No. Would I recommend it in theaters? If you're in the mood for a rom-com, it'd be fine. I would still pay matinee prices. If you want to see rom-coms get made fun of a little bit and if you haven't really seen the trailer or know much about the movie, I would definitely recommend it, at least checking it out at like a matinee price. Is it worth full price? Probably not. That being said, it would be a mostly harmless date night movie. And yeah, I won't highly recommend it, but if people really enjoy this movie, I won't be surprised and I won't be offended. So yeah, that's Isn't It Romantic? It's thankfully wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I just wish it would have been a little better than I just wish it would have been a little better, a little funnier, and then I think I would have really enjoyed it. Okay, the next movie we're going to be talking about not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Let's talk about Alita: Battle Angel. So when I saw the trailers for this movie, I thought, dear God, we're getting another Mortal Engines or something like that, where it's going to be overly ambitious. They're going to try to set up too much to where they almost force another movie out of it, whether you want it or not, kind of thing. So what this is based on, it's based on a manga series, and what it's about this female cyborg girl that's been dismantled. She's found by this robotics doctor in this scrap heap. And it's going to be hard for me to explain everything, by the way, because, man, there's a lot going on in this movie. There's this big ship up in the air, and it's dumping a bunch of stuff, and she was one of the things that was dumped, and he found her, and he rebuilds her. And she has no memory. This cyborg, basically robotics body, human brain, has no memory of her past life, and that's what a lot of the movie is her figuring out her past life. And the whole movie revolves around this ship that's up in the air, and the person that runs that kind of controlling the world down below. Plus you have the lower world boss who runs a dirty game of motorball, which is basically their death race. Or it's like if you mix death race and some kind of ball game. It's kind of like roller games in a way. So there's just the whole movie is about her trying to figure out who she is, and little by little it kind of reminds you a bit of Jason Bourne, because all of a sudden she starts, just out of like muscle memory, starts kicking people's butts, and it comes to find out that everyone she knows has secrets or are hiding things from her, including the man that rebuilt her, including her potential love interest, and everybody else all has secrets that they're keeping from her, and it's about her adventure of trying to figure out who she is, and then eventually fighting the forces of evil. I'll give this movie credit. It was definitely ambitious. It does have a lot of different stories going on, and so in a way, there's just a lot to follow. That being said, it's not hard to follow, but there's just a lot going on. They go from her learning about the world to, when she tries oranges and chocolate. Here's the thing: she has to eat. She's a cyborg, but she has to eat. It's kind of crazy. That being said, she can breathe underwater. That's hard to. She can breathe underwater, but she has to eat. It's just there's things like that were kind of iffy with who she was as a character. So this whole thing is she has to learn about life, and by accident she catches the doctor that rebuilt her. She catches him gonna attack somebody, but it turns out he's this hunter that gets paid to hunt down criminals, and she wants to become one, and of course he's kind of playing the father figure, so he says no, and but the bad guys want her for unspecified reasons, and she discovers bit by bit, pieces of who she is and where she's from, and this leads to her getting better technology, and there's just so much going on in this movie. So it's definitely ambitious. A lot of people are comparing it to things like Mortal Engines, and I would say I can see that, but I think this movie was way better. There's some cliches in this movie, and it's got a lot going on, but I don't know. I was enjoying myself better in this one. Maybe because this one, while it was taking itself serious, it was also having fun, where Mortal Engines was just super serious the entire time. I will also say that this movie has a lot of cool action to it. The effects are really well. I was wondering how, especially when you have this fully CG character, this mo-capped character played by Rosa Salazar. Alita is fully CG, or at least from what you can tell, is fully CG, at least in the face. I'm sure a lot of the body was too, the way they had to do the effects and everything. I was worried about how that was going to go, and there are some points where the CG isn't the greatest. That being said, the majority of the time, it's crazy because she looks like an anime girl in this real world. And that was the big eyes and everything. All they really would have had to do is make the mouth smaller, and she would have looked totally like an anime girl. And it was, in a weird way, I think it was acceptable because it was easy to take in because she was not totally human. I think if she would have been a human character, like this is what I thought of when they were talking about wanting to turn Scarlett Johansson, quote-unquote, more Japanese, when they wanted to give her the big eyes and the small mouth and everything for Ghost in the Shell. This is kind of what I was expecting, but for this, it worked. I don't know if it would have worked in Ghost in the Shell, maybe because they weren't recreating Scarlett Johansson's face, and in this, they recreate Rosa Salazar's face. It doesn't really look like her. It sounds like her, but it doesn't really look like her because they kind of cover everything. So the effects are really good. The action in this is really cool. I had a lot of fun with the action. A lot of cool fight scenes. There's not a lot of guns in this because guns are outlawed in this world. So there's only like 1 or 2 points where guns are involved. The rest of the time it's blades and kung fu and things like that. So that's pretty cool. One thing I really enjoyed was, okay, we know that Christoph Waltz is in the movie, Jennifer Connelly's in the movie, Mahershala Ali's in the movie, Ed Skrein's in the movie, right? Because of the trailer. But man, there are so many other people in this movie that have either just bit cameos or they're just characters and you didn't know they were in it. Jackie Earle Haley is like, and I'm probably gonna mispronounce the bad guy's name, Gruishka. He is this big, massive cyborg, and it's Jackie Earle Haley, and he reminds me of Overkill from Spawn. My favorite character that had a bit part was Jeff Fahey. The best way to explain him is he is a bounty hunting cowboy dog lover, and we need more of that in movies. He was just a cool character. The way he ends up helping the good guys for a bit, and he kind of goes away after that. It kind of sucked, but there's a thing involving a dog, and it ends up making Jeff Fahey help the good guys, even though these hunters don't want to help the good guys at first. There's a bit part by Casper Van Dien. There's just other bit parts. I'm looking through the list here. Jai Courtney's in it for like 5 seconds. The last villain, which this movie does sequel bait, the last villain, I won't say who it is, but I think they were banking on you going, oh, we know who he is. We want to see the good guy against him. So that was kind of neat. So yeah, there's a lot of little cool cameos and things. I like the main cast in this. The story, like I said, it's a little all over the place. The script isn't the greatest at times, but I was enjoying myself with this movie. So yeah, I don't know if it was the wisest idea to sequel bait with this one, but because I can't guarantee they're going to get another movie. I don't know if it's going to make... I mean, I know it did well on the first night. I don't know how it's doing now. But I don't think it's a wise idea to sequel bait something like this, because it's just like any other big budget movie that is taking a big chance on a property that... I mean, yes, this property has its fan base, but it's not a wide fan base. I think of movies like John Carter, which, again, I love that movie and wanted to see another one, but they took a big gamble and lost a lot of money, and I have a feeling that this might happen to this one too. Here's the thing. I don't want to say I wouldn't want to see another one of these. Am I clamoring for another one? No. Would I be okay with them making another one and want to see it? Yeah. But I'm kind of in the middle there. I'm not saying I love this movie so much they need to make another one like I did for John Carter. But for this, if they made another one, I would be okay with it, and I would probably, hopefully, have a good time with it too. Well, that's going to be all for this edition of Talkin' Movies Double Feature Review. If you have anything to say about either of these movies, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. As always, I'm your host, the real Geno Reynolds. See you later.